Take one dead smartphone out of a kitchen drawer, the one that stopped turning on in 2018. The screen is cracked, the battery is dead. It has sat in the same drawer, under papers and old chargers, for years. Inside that single dead phone are roughly 0.034 grams of gold, about 0.34 grams of silver, around 0.015 grams of palladium, a trace of platinum, roughly 15 grams of copper. Per phone, this is almost nothing. At current gold prices, the gold inside one phone is worth about $3. The silver adds 30 cents. The palladium, maybe 50 cents. Together, the precious metals in a single dead phone are worth perhaps $4 or $5. Here is the question. Why does 1 ton of dead smartphones contain roughly 280 grams of gold, while 1 ton of gold ore from a mine contains perhaps 5 grams? And why are the 5 billion dead phones sitting in drawers around the world right now, while mining companies dig up the earth to find less gold in more rock? 1 ton of mined gold ore. Trucks, diesel, explosives, cyanide processing. Yield, 1 to 5 grams of gold. 1 ton of discarded smartphones collected from drawers, recyclers, waste centers. Yield, roughly 200 to 300 grams of gold. That is 60 to 100 times more gold per ton than mined ore, plus palladium and platinum, plus over 100 kilograms of copper, plus silver. And the phones do not require drilling. They do not require dynamite. They do not require the removal of an entire mountaintop, or the creation of a tailings pond, or the discharge of mercury and cyanide into a river downstream. They are already out of the ground. They are already refined. The gold in them has already been mined once, at an enormous environmental cost. It is now sitting in a drawer, doing nothing. Researchers have documented this for decades. The United States Geological Survey even published a fact sheet called Recycled Cell Phones, a treasure trove of valuable metals. The gold is there, the data is there, the phones are there, and then Japan did something nobody had done before. In 2017, the Tokyo Organizing Committee launched a project. It was called the Tokyo 2020 Medal Project. The goal was audacious. Every single medal awarded at the Tokyo Games, all 5,000 of them, gold, silver, and bronze, would be made entirely from metal recovered from electronic waste donated by the Japanese public. Over 2 years, Japan collected approximately 79,000 tons of electronic devices. That total included 6.21 million used mobile phones, old flip phones, dead smartphones, digital cameras, handheld gaming consoles, things sitting in closets, things that were about to be thrown away. Collection boxes appeared in post offices and phone stores across the country. The project went viral. Citizens showed up with bags of old devices. By the time the extraction was complete, the project had recovered about 32 kilograms of gold, 3,500 kilograms of silver, around 2,200 kilograms of bronze, every gold medal around an athlete's neck in Tokyo, more than 6 grams of gold over solid silver came from the phones nobody wanted anymore, the dead drawer phones, the ones that were worthless to their owners. 1 ton of mined gold ore yields about 5 grams of gold. Japan recovered 32,000 grams of gold from things people were about to throw away. That is not a flex. That is a statement of fact. The richest gold mine on earth is not underground. It is in drawers. In 2024, the United Kingdom's Royal Mint, an institution that traces its history back to the year 886, opened something entirely new at its facility in South Wales. A factory designed to recover gold from electronic waste, the Royal Mint. The same operation that for over 1100 years refined precious metals into currency, now building a plant to pull gold from dead circuit boards. The process uses a patented chemical method that operates at room temperature. It recovers gold from printed circuit boards, the green panels inside every discarded phone and laptop. The first bars of recycled gold were poured in late 2024. Full capacity was targeted for 2025. The Royal Mint does not make decisions based on idealism. It makes them based on economics. The math is simple. It is now cheaper and more efficient to recover gold from this waste than many had assumed. The mine is not in South Africa. The mine is not in the Yukon. The mine is a drawer full of dead phones in Cardiff, or London, or Manchester. Urban mining. That is the term, and it is not coming. It is here. But here is where the story turns. Because for all of this, for the 60-1 gold advantage, for the Olympic medals, for the Royal Mint plant, almost no phones are actually being recycled. The Global E-Waste Monitor, a report produced by the United Nations Institute for Training and Research, found that worldwide, only about 22% of electronic waste is formally collected and recycled. 22%? The other 78% is either sitting in drawers, thrown in the trash, shipped to countries with no safe processing, or burned. The gold, the silver, the palladium, the copper, burned, buried, lost. The GSMA, the Global Mobile Industry Trade Body, estimates that more than 5 billion mobile phones are currently sitting unused in drawers around the world. 5 billion. That is roughly one phone for every human being alive. The European Union alone is estimated to hold around 700 million unused phones, nearly 2 devices for every person, sitting in kitchen drawers, bedroom nightstands, office desks, boxes in the garage. At $4 of precious metal per phone, 5 billion phones is around $20 billion of gold, silver, palladium, platinum, and copper, sitting idle, doing nothing, while mines dig deeper, burn more diesel, and poison more rivers to extract less gold per ton. Here is what the dead phone story is actually about. It would be easy to say that the lesson is about recycling, that everyone should collect their old phones and sell them for $4 and be done with it. That is not the lesson. The lesson is that human beings are terrible at recognizing value when it does not come in a form they have been trained to see. A phone is valuable when it turns on. That is the training. That is what culture says. When it stops turning on, it becomes junk. It goes in a drawer. Nobody looks at a dead phone and thinks gold, even though gold is exactly what it contains. The same is true of skills that were not marketable in a previous career. The same is true of relationships that were not immediately useful. The same is true of ideas that were ahead of their time. The culture trains people to value things based on what they can do right now, and to discard everything else as worthless. But the gold is in the discard pile. It always was. 5 billion phones in drawers, 22% recycled. The gap between these two numbers is not only an environmental problem, it is a failure of attention. The mean is in the drawer. The mine was in the drawer all along, and almost nobody looked. Money is a tool. It is not an identity, but attention is the difference between a dead phone in a drawer and an Olympic gold medal. So here is the question. How many dead phones are in the drawers of this house right now? How many pieces of electronics were discarded without ever asking what was inside them? Go look. And then ask a harder question. What else was discarded because it did not look valuable on the surface? Subscribe to Money Fails. Real stories, real mistakes, real lessons, because the richest gold mine on earth is not in the ground. It is already upstairs. See you in the next one.